All right, how we doing, Dolphin fans? Mike McDaniel came out a little bit a while ago, had his press conference talking about Tua. Um, Teddy is basically been, is officially the starter on Sunday. I'm gonna play about 2 minutes of the press conference because McDaniel's asked how did they pinpoint or did they pinpoint exactly when the concussion did happen, and it's been confirmed that Tua did suffer a concussion. And I want to play these couple of answers because from what it sounds like Tua definitely was affected by the concussion during the second half. And it almost sounds like he could have been hiding it, knowing about some of the symptoms. So I want to play you what Coach said, and then we'll talk about it. Now, this is you can just tell by the look on his face and how he sounds and everything that he's not a happy guy. He's genuinely concerned, and he's definitely disappointed with what's happening. So I'm going to play about 2 minutes worth.
Were you able to pinpoint when exactly he sustained that concussion on Sunday?
Yeah. There's the day after the game, so Monday, there was some, upon reviewing the film, we had some questions. Kind of feel like, we had an idea that there's, hey, did something happen in this portion of the game? Question him. Once we got really, we continued to question him, and once we got some information back, we're like, you need to go see the doctor. So to say with absolute certainty, that it was this, that, or otherwise, it was just there was some things that caused us to really prod, and as a result, we felt like he needed to see medical professionals.
Now I'm going to play the rest in a second, but that's completely different than what we've heard so far. So far, it had been like, oh, Tua came in Monday and told them he had these symptoms, and he went to go talk to the doctors. That's not what's happened. Now there's a follow-up question, so I'm going to let that play, and then we'll get into it.
Were the things that caused you to prod stuff on the tape, or was he behaving in a way on Monday, showing any symptoms to you in your meetings with him or with anyone else that caused you to say you should see a doctor?
This specifically had to do with consistencies of things that I studied daily that on tape, which provoked some direct questioning with a high degree of concern.
Okay, a high degree of concern. Direct questioning with a high degree of concern. So let's extrapolate a little bit out of it, right? We're guessing, okay? But Mike comes in, starts watching film, like what happened? The first thing they did Monday morning was come in there and be like, what the hell happened on those 3 interceptions? Now, Tua had already said in his press conference after the game that he might have called the wrong play on the second interception. The first one seemed like it was a simple, though terrible, trying to, get it over the linebacker, and he missed everybody. But the third one was really the one that has everybody head spinning because you've got Wilson and Hill wide open. Now, it's one thing if Wilson's open, Tua's used to ignoring the running backs. But when have you seen him ignore a wide open Tyreek Hill crossing over the middle? I've not seen that. So coaches come in, they start looking at the film, and then most likely, again, this is me guessing with the pieces of information that we have. You already had this guy that found that clip on, that put the clip out on Twitter that showed Tua's head hitting somebody in the Dolphins organization. Sees that, tells Mike, hey man, watch the film. Does Tua seem right? Because he did take this hit. They watch some of the film. They go, this doesn't look like Tua. This doesn't look right. They called Tua in, and from what it sounds like, they had to dig and prod. I mean, prod was the word that Mike used. They had to prod him to give them information, and then once they did, there was a heightened sense of concern, and they sent Tua to go see the doctor. I think that the look of concern and frustration on Coach McDaniel's face, to me, if I'm guessing again, to me, that looks like a man that is not just concerned about Tua's long-term health, but his trust level in Tua in terms of the concussion thing might be, he might be, it might be shaken in terms of if Tua goes out there and gets a hit and is feeling a little bit wobbly, not 100%, is Tua during the middle of a game going to take him out and go up to the coaches and medical staff and say, hey, look, I got hit, something's not right, Teddy needs to go in. Now, I'm not sitting here judging Tua one way or another. I see all the different sides, but I think what, the rest of the press conference, Coach was very, very animate about he is going to follow what the medical personnel tell him. He's not going to make any declarations of if Tua comes back, he's ready to go, or he's going to sit him. He's not saying anything. He's putting this 100% in the medical hands, in the medical professionals' hands. Personally, again, I'm not a doctor, but personally, I would be shocked, if any of these team doctors clear him for any more activity the rest of the year, because he did get another concussion. What are you going to do? Throw him out there? We're going to give him a couple weeks off and throw him out there at Kansas City in a playoff game? No, that would just be... even if the doctors could technically clear him, the optics of that, if he gets hurt again, I just don't think you do it. I just don't think you do it. And I hate saying that, obviously. He gives us the best chance to win. But not if he's concussed, right? I mean, there is the other end to that where there's everybody else on the team is working hard and working towards a goal. And kind of like what you saw with Baker Mayfield a little bit, right? Where he refused basically to come out, right? He played hurt. And sometimes a guy is going to be all heart. We all know it too is all heart. Question now is, was he foggy, groggy to the point where he didn't recognize it on Sunday? Or was he aware of it but went out there anyway and tried to perform? And it's very, very hard to know. You look at, if you look at the sideline shots after the second and the third interceptions. Now, understandably, Tua's going to be out of sorts. I don't want to read too much into it, but when I was watching it, he definitely looked abnormally frustrated, almost as though like he was. I'm piecing too many things together. I don't want to accuse him of being aware, but either he was concussed and didn't know it. Let's put it this way: we know he got a concussion, so either he was concussed and didn't know it, or was concussed and did, right? And that's really, from when you read into what McDaniel is saying here, he is saying it in as polite and careful kind of manner as he can, but multiple times he said, we had to keep asking, we had to prod him, we had to dig, right, to get these answers out of Tua. That kind of makes me lean on the side that maybe Tua knew something he wasn't quite feeling right at some point in that second half. And that's a tough thing. That's going to be a tough thing for everybody to deal with, because you've got the rest of these guys, the rest of these players, they're all working hard and they're all, working for the same goal. You want your best players out there on the field, but if a guy knows he's hurt and he stays out there, is he helping or hurting the team? Because certainly you look at that last interception, you can forget about the other two interceptions. You look at, everything that happened, we had a chance to win it with a touchdown drive, okay? And McDaniel calls play that has Wilson and Hill wide open. And Tua, with a concussion at that point, whether he knew it or not, misses them. So at that point, when that happens, you're going to start to get players going, man, did you know to it? Did you know? Because why didn't, Teddy's right there. He's good to go. Teddy could have finished this off, right? So I don't think that that's happened yet, but I would be shocked based on Mike McDaniel's body language and the things that he said in this press conference. I would be beyond shocked if Tua comes back and plays it all the rest of this year. That said, we were all shocked when he came back out for the second half against Buffalo, right? Nobody anticipated him. We saw him stumble. It was like, that's it. He's done for the day. And then he came back out. Different situation now. This is either his second or third concussion. When the fact that he got a concussion on that hit against the Packers this week makes me lean towards the possibility that he did get concussed against Buffalo, even though he did come out and play well in that second half, obviously, right? Sometimes the concussion symptoms can be, delayed. And if that was his first one, he may not have really felt it all that terribly. Then the thing in Cincinnati happens. That would be 2, and this would be 3. And at that point, to get a concussion on that play that happened, on that tackle that happened against the Packers, how do you reconcile that you could get a concussion on that play and still continue to play quarterback? Because you're going to get knocked down and thrown around and hit, and your head's going to hit again. It's unavoidable. You can't avoid it. So from the look on McDaniel's face, how he sounds, we know Teddy's coming in Sunday. Best thing that can happen for the Dolphins is we get a win. The Jets lose to Seattle. We clinch that 7th seed. We take it. And then we take the Jets game and we rest as many people as possible, get as healthy as possible. If we have the 7th seed clinched, I don't want to see Teddy on the field. I want to see Skyler on the field because Teddy has his own injury history issues, right? So there's no reason for him to play that game if we already have the 7th seed clinched and we can't improve our seed. That's my personal opinion. But all right, curious what you guys think about that. I didn't want to make this too long, but when I saw that, and I have a different point of view, sometimes a different perspective of, when I watch things that other people have. But to me, I'm not going to sit there and say exactly 100%. We now know that Tua knew he had a concussion, but we definitely pretty much now know that he did have a concussion during the game. It affected his play to the point where the coaches asked him, remember, the coaches were asking him what happened on the field on Sunday. And the answers to his answers about what happened on the field Sunday made the coaches send him to the doctor. So when Tua said, I might have called the wrong play on that second interception, maybe he tells the coaches, yeah, I don't remember what I called. I don't remember. I don't, you know what I mean? Which would be a big, huge red flag, right? If he doesn't remember what play he called. That could have been enough. So we'll keep following. This is going to be, it's going to be interesting. I don't want to count the Dolphins out is dead here. You know what I mean? It was going to be a tough go of it going at Kansas City, at Buffalo, or at Cincinnati. I would have felt better at Cincinnati, which is still, I guess, technically possible. We'll see how the games throughout this weekend. All right. Appreciate all the support. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.